Morgan, he opened camp, he played all camp left tackle. A lot of right guard to start the season. Must have worked last week at right tackle quite a bit, because he came in right away, ended up at left guard. Have you guys looking back, have you spread him too thin?
No, I don't think so. We wouldn't put him out in places if we didn't think he could handle it. You know, when you're looking at a guy that's in the role that he's at, if you're not the direct starter at a certain position, then you kind of have to work in different spots. That's kind of the role of a swing guy. So yeah, he's one of our better guys. So if there was an injury anywhere, we want to put him, you know, at the place to fill the gap, I guess. So yeah, we have faith in him. And the one thing about him is, you give him reps in a certain spot, you can definitely just see improvement in his game. So he's just coming along. He's a young player that's just got to keep improving.
The issues y'all have had running the ball so far, is it just a matter of not have the lack of cohesiveness on the offensive line with all the injuries, or is there anything you see beyond that?
I mean, you could say that, but I think it just comes down to us executing better. And we've done a good job at times running the football. But yeah, for like an entire game, that's one thing I think I'm excited about as we go forward, is just getting this run game going, because once we do that, I think our offense is going to be pretty explosive.
So how do you do that, Steno? Especially if teams are putting so many guys in a box, or sometimes they might have more guys than you can block. How can you realistically run the ball in that, under that situation?
Well, you just got to take advantage and do it other ways and force them to get in shell defenses or whatever it is. But yeah, we just got to do a better job executing across the board.
Defenses are obviously loading the box, and you're going through the lack of continuity on the offensive line. Is there any part of this where Josh can or needs to do anything better to help that along, or is it just a matter of the loaded boxes and you got to play better up front?
I mean, if you ask Josh, he's always going to say, yeah, I got to do this better or that better. And I think it's just everybody just going out there and executing. And I see a lot of really good play style clips of how we're doing things the right way. But again, it's just being consistent, eliminating those pre-snap penalties to put yourselves in favorable positions, and not being behind the sticks. You know, things like that, where I think once we get over the hump with that stuff, then we'll put ourselves in better position to make plays for sure.
What's when you're looking at O-linemen, what's harder to find? A guy who can play both positions on one side well enough where you feel okay about it, or a guy who can play both guards or both tackles, which is tougher to find?
I'd say probably finding a guy that's a good tackle that can play in space, move with the premier defensive ends, anchor, and just has that athleticism to do well in pass protection. That's probably the biggest thing that you're looking for when you're looking for like a premier offensive lineman. And then, you know, you're just looking for movement skills, hip strength, things like that, length, you know, stuff like that, where you may not see, like when you're evaluating guys, you may not see, okay, they're not necessarily doing the skills that you're going to ask them to do in the college game, but do they possess the qualities that you think, you know, these guys can come to the NFL and play? So that's a big thing when you're kind of projecting. Now, as far as most of the time, like if you can find a guy that's a tackle and he might not be the starter, okay, let's work him on both sides so he can be the swing guy, the next guy that's in. And then a lot of guys have versatility. Elton, J-Mo, you know, all those guys, Sean Ryan, that you can move them around to. Sean Ryan's more of an interior guy, but like Jordan and Elton were kind of anomalies where like you could put them anywhere and they can function and be solid. So, yeah, it just depends on the guy, I guess.
With Kennard arriving so late, what have you learned about him over the last month and kind of how he fits with what you guys want to do?
Very diligent, works really hard. He's kind of a quiet guy, not super outgoing, but like just very, his work ethic's great, really serious, and yeah, just takes his job seriously. He's a professional, so yeah, he's done a good job so far.
So Steno, going back to Morgan just for a second, so you guys are convinced that he is versatile enough? From the outside look again, it looked like when Zach did it and when Elton did it, it just seemed to come easier to them, and there weren't quite as many bumps in the road. But you think he's got the same capability as those
Yeah.
guys showed?
Yeah. I'd say he might even have more, to be honest with you, as far as just his athleticism and his build and stuff like that. Yeah. But it's different for everybody, you know what I mean? And I think for what we're asking him to do, he doesn't flinch. He goes out there, hey, you got to play right tackle. All right. Now it's right guard or left tackle, like whatever. He doesn't flinch. He goes out there and does it and gives it his best. So, you know, as his career goes on, I think we'll find that spot for him, and then he can just own it. But we don't have that luxury right now.
So, and then I understand this is why they pay you the big bucks, but how difficult of a week is this? You got Aaron Banks, you got Zach Tom, and you got Belton, and I think Sheed missed practice yesterday, maybe, or at least was limited, or.
Yeah, I mean,
how
that's
challenging is this?
that's the nature of the NFL, and it's not like some years it's wide receivers, some years it's running back, some years it's offensive line. So it's not like it's new to us, and we've kind of gone through this in past years. And the thing is, you can't make excuses, because you know, winning and losing, that's what it's all about. And these guys just go out there, and the expectation is for the position. So whoever's playing right guard or left guard or whatever, the expectation is to go out there and help the Green Bay Packers win. So, yeah, we have plans for everybody, but I'm just excited to go out there and watch how these guys respond and play.
Has Morgan played well enough, especially like at right tackle or at left guard this last game? Or if he hasn't, how long do you think, you know, you're adding a couple of new positions in there, how long do you think it is before he is playing well enough where it's not affecting outcomes of games at all?
Yeah, I think he's playing well enough. I think once he gets, you know, at a position, I think he'll be just fine. Like, I'm encouraged by what I see from him. There's just things that a young guy just needs to go out there and play. And he missed a large chunk of last season that he didn't get to go out there because of his injury. So he's kind of just going through it all right now. And but yeah, I'm not down on him at all.
On the good side, with the injury front, obviously you avoided a scare with Tucker. You said that the knee didn't really give him much problems against the Browns. You see a guy with where he's at right now. I know he's going against good defense. Where for your offense to be the best it can be, he's got to really kind of be vocal and kind of highlight that matchup week in and week out to make sure he's getting.
Yeah, I mean, any of those guys, especially a guy like Tucker. But yeah, if we're going to be the best that we can be, we got to get him the ball for sure. There's no doubt about that. But that he does great things when he has the ball. You know, at the end of the game, we got the ball to him, and he did a great job, got an explosive play, put us in field goal range. So, you know, he's just one of those guys that makes plays when he has the ball in his hand for sure.
Did you see the Browns adjust anything in how they covered him after his big game against Washington?
No, not really. Yeah, they kind of did what they do.
Is Golden doing enough where he's kind of, I want to say demand's the wrong word, but deserving more opportunities as well? Maybe some end arounds late in the game.
Yeah, I
Something
mean,
like that?
we're always going to try and find a way to get those guys the ball for sure. And if the play develops and he might be the primary guy and he's there, great. But if not, if they took it away, then we're going to try not to force feed it. And I think that's just one of those things with the guys we have. We got Wicks, we got Golden, we got Tuck, we got Romeo, we got Josh Jacobs, we got some playmakers. So it leaves you, you know, with a lot of options. So it's not like you have to force the ball to one guy or whatever it is. You can just call your plays and read it out, and whatever the defense gives you, you can take it.
At the end of his deep shot, Golden, should he have kind of tried to get more yards and turn that upfield, or what was your view of that?
Yeah, I mean, I thought he had a chance to, for sure. When I was up in the box, I was hoping he could stick his right foot in the ground and just take off, but his momentum carried him out. So, I mean, it's still a good game, but, like, yeah, I think as he goes in his career, he might be able to put his foot in the ground and maybe take it to the house.
Steno, you mentioned earlier trying to get over the hump with the penalties. I mean, I'm not trying to be like a smart ass, but like how do you coach your way through like false start, the pre-snap stuff? Like how do you get through that?
I mean, you emphasize it and you just keep working on it, and yeah, it clicks eventually. You know what I mean? So I think guys It's not like we're not talking about it, we're not emphasizing it. We use a lot of cadences. I mean, you can pull back and take that versatility away, but then now you're allowing defenses to tee off on you. So I'm going to trust our process and trust our guys. And again, I'm just really excited to see how we're going to go out there and respond on Sunday, because that's what it's going to be all about.
Steno, you guys are one of the teams that uses the quarterback having the wristband with the play sheets on it. What do you think the benefit of that is, and why do you guys do it?
Well, there's a lot of different benefits from like a play caller standpoint. You can just say, hey, wristband, whatever it is, and then they don't have to hear a long call, the play clock's running, process it, okay, go talk. They can just bang, hear it, and now they're reading it and saying it at the same time. So it saves seconds. And then also longer play calls, things like that, where the verbiage can get kind of wordy. That's another reason why you use it, just so he doesn't mess up hearing it and then communicating that in the huddle.
Elton said yesterday that he thinks he's played like shit this season. Is that him being too critical of himself, or is it part of the position switch? What are you seeing there?
Yeah, I think he's being critical of himself, which is he's taking ownership and all that stuff. I would say he had a bad game. He didn't play great for his standards against the Browns, but it's game 3 of a 17-game season, plus hopefully we're in the right to make the playoffs. So it is what it is. If he can take that negative and make it a positive for the rest of the season, then let's go and do that. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I'm not going to get too high or too low on any of this stuff. I just want to see how they go out there on Sunday and play.
You guys have had some seasons earlier in your time here where things were a little rough early, maybe with the offensive line.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. But you've always seemed to come out okay in the end.
Mm-hmm.
How long do you think it takes for an offensive line and even a whole offense to gel and figure itself out and all
Well,
that?
we have a saying, it takes 10 games. 10 games. We learned that 2 years ago when we had pretty much an entire rookie roster playing, and then all of a sudden, around game 10, it was like, all right, things are clicking, guys are figuring it out, you know what I mean? So we joke about that. Oh, it takes 10 games to get your offense going. Hopefully it takes less than that this year. I would expect that, but yeah, no, it's one thing you just got to go out there and make sure you're doing the right things in practice, and guys are playing hard, playing the right way, and yeah, it'll click.
You know, maybe this will be the week. I mean, if you look at Dallas's defense, they've been beaten pretty bad the last couple of weeks. What have you seen? The corners, looks like their corners are going to play. What have you seen from that side of the ball?
I mean, yeah, Bland's a good player. They definitely would be excited to get him out there because I think he's a good playmaker. Up front, you know, they got Kenny, and he's playing very well. So they got some good rushers. Fowler, we'll see what they do with Clowney. Obviously, he's going to be playing this week from what we've heard. So there's a lot of things we got to get ready for. And I think worrying about them, yes, but then just worrying about ourselves and making sure we're doing the best that we can to go on the road and go out there and execute and play a clean game. That's going to be the most important thing for us.
Is that what kind of typically is when you don't have the game you want? The focus becomes more inward than the opponent?
Well, yeah, I mean, you just look at what happened last week when we had 5 pre-snap penalties and just sloppy ball, and it's all self-inflicted wounds. And that's just a good portrait of if you don't take care of the simple things, the things like executing a snap count or getting off on the ball, the rest of it is pretty hard, especially when you're going against a good defense, which you pretty much play every week in the NFL.
Steno, what do you think of what you've got in the first 3 weeks from Wicks, and how different is he than he was around this time last year when obviously he was struggling with the drops?
Yeah, no, you can see he's out there every day. He's playing with confidence. He's running great routes. He's blocking. He's doing everything we ask, being a good leader. So I'm excited just to see as the season unfolds just the plays that he's going to make. Like we got him the ball in some crucial situations last week, and he came through down in the red zone, made a great guy miss, and almost scored a touchdown. So he's a guy that, you know, has shown that he's stepped up and done a great job.
So Josh today in the locker room said that he felt that everybody was kind of flat pregame for the Browns, whether that was because you guys were 2-0 and you kind of felt complacent or not. Did you feel the same effect pregame, and did it have any effect on the game?
For me as a coach, like, I try not to get too high or too low in pregame as far as reading into that, because sometimes you can be like, oh, they didn't look great, and you can get all worked up, and then all of a sudden they go out there and everything looks great. So I didn't notice that particularly. I thought the guys had good looks in their eye. They were ready to go. So, yeah, but if he said that, then that must have been a thing that he felt.